How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Greetings. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very, very, very happy to have you. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you get the links to everything social media-wise, the podcast, the 4 Things to Know This Afternoon, and the very top link is to the daily email where you can find all the recipes for Thanksgiving, the very first link. I pushed it out this morning. You should be a subscriber anyway. But great recipes, including the gravy recipe. But before I move on, I want to take a phone call on Trump's on his statements about the Democrats. In particular, it was his mean tweet about these people that actually the White House literally, hang on a second, let me read to you the headline reply was in fact that, yes, in all caps from Newswire, Trump does not want to execute members of Congress, White House says. All right. Mark, I'm going to go to you. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, sir?
Good. What's going on?
Well, I wanted to call in, and there's been all this conversation about how irresponsible and seditious it was for Congress members to make a statement that is patently true, absolutely true. And in fact, I would like to ask you a question. What would happen if the actions going on in Venezuela or off the coast of Venezuela, or the National Guard deployments in urban cities, if those were found to be illegal, who's going to be culpable for that? The president or the people that carried out the actions on the ground?
Oh, the people who carried out the actions on the ground will be responsible for it.
Exactly. And that's what the Congress members were talking about, and too. The Nuremberg defense is not going to work for soldiers. I've known many soldiers over my time. I come from a military family, and I know many young soldiers. They don't know the law. They don't understand the larger systems in play. They believe that the president is absolutely in charge, and that is a dangerous situation when you consider the illegal culpability they're being placed in.
So, Mark, where's the legal defense fund that these members of Congress have set up for these guys?
I don't know about that. I don't see how that pertains to what we're talking about.
No. It's directly related. You just said these guys don't know what's legal or illegal. They're going to follow the president. These people are telling them don't follow illegal orders, and they're not setting up a relief fund for any of these guys if they get it wrong. They're not setting up a relief fund to help them get out of jail.
There's been nobody's charged. Why do you need a legal defense fund if there have been no charges filed? That's something that can be accomplished.
Wait just a minute. It's my show, not your show, Mark. I'm trying to get you to answer a question, Mark, that you don't want to seem to answer.
It doesn't pertain. It's not germane. It's a sidetrack.
No, it's not, because you just said that hasn't come yet, but you started the conversation by saying they're acknowledging there's been no illegal order. So
I did not acknowledge that. I believe that it's illegal to execute people for crimes that don't hold a capital offense, and to claim that they're a military organization. It's false on its face, and you are carrying water.
Wait, now see, you shifted the goalposts again. No, you're trying to defend the Democrats, which is fine, but you started by saying what happens
if about the actual law.
And now you can't even let me get into word in edgewise on my own show, Mark. This is starting to get annoying.
Go ahead.
My point was, you started by saying what happens if the president gives illegal orders. You didn't say any of them were illegal, but now you believe they were illegal. But
I do
because it's a foreign policy issue,
I believe
are you a lawyer by chance?
I am not.
Okay, I am. And I can tell you in foreign policy, there are actually copious Supreme Court precedents that if the president declares an organization narco-terrorists and decides to blow them out of the water, it is a legal order. And Congress may not like it, but until Congress goes back in and actually decides that the president doesn't have that power, the president gets that power. So you can call in and you can mouth off in defense of the Democrats, and that's fine. But your original premise was that what if he gives an illegal order? And when I said, where's the legal fund they're setting up, you're like, that's not relevant. That's not germane because that hasn't happened. And when I pointed out your premise was that he hasn't given an illegal order, you're like, no, I actually think it is illegal. Except you admitted you're not a lawyer, and I am, and I can tell you it's not illegal. And yet here you come mouthing off on my show about something I actually happen to know about. If you want to defend the Democrats, that's totally fine. I don't mind you guys, Mark, defending the Democrats. I think what they did was dumb because as you yourself pointed out, Mark, none of these guys know whether it's going to be a legal order or an illegal order, but the Democrats aren't putting anything in place to protect them. You say, oh, that's in the future. That could happen. No. You want the legal fund in place now because you want the lawyers ready to go if they do it. Because the Democrats are encouraging them to defy the president of the United States. They're encouraging them to defy the president. So where is the legal fund ready to go for when they do what the Democrats say? You think it's not relevant? It's highly relevant right now. You got to have the lawyers in place. No, what they did was performance. And you're one of the people they played to. You were inspired and encouraged by the Democrats because you don't like Donald Trump and you're convinced he's been issuing illegal orders. We established you think that, but also that you're not a lawyer and you're out of your depth on whether it's a legal question or not because the Supreme Court has decided repeatedly the president has distinct and plenary powers when it comes to being commander-in-chief and foreign policy combined. And when you weave those two powers together, there's really nothing the Congress can do in present law. They have to pass new laws, which they have not done and will not do because the Republicans have blocked them. So the point of this, Mark, is that you can be emotionally enraged by what the president is doing and love that the Democrats are defending him, but you also don't know what the hell you're talking about when it actually comes to the application of the law. You feel good coming on and mouthing off and getting on my show and trying to dominate the airtime and not let me get a word in edgewise. Good for you, but ultimately at the end of the day, it is my button and I have the kill switch to shut you up so I can make the point that you don't actually know what you're talking about. And you don't. And had you been a regular listener, Mark, you would have heard that I actually do think that there are questions about the intelligence in the Caribbean. There actually are. And I don't think that Pete Hegseth actually has the wherewithal to navigate that issue. And Pete Hegseth, at the end of the day, not the president of the United States, but Pete Hegseth will be one of the fall guys if things go south on this. And Hegseth will, if there's criminality there, he would be the one carted off to jail, short of the president pardoning him, which would probably happen. But for the Democrats to do this, it's all performance-based. It got you worked up. It's got progressives cheering them, and they're all now, every one of them, sending out fundraising letters. Look at what we did. Look at what we're doing. And not a single one of those fundraising letters has money that will go to help any soldier. Now, here's what's actually going to happen. Is a progressive, probably going to be the Air Force, let's just be honest. A progressive is going to decide, I'm going to defy the president's order, and I wish to be the martyr. And that person is going to get court-martialed, either thrown out of the military, dishonorably discharged, or thrown in jail, and will wear that as a badge of honor to run for Congress as a Democrat. I stood up to Donald Trump's illegal orders, and a guy like Mark is going to send that guy a check because that person defied the president, even though in the court-martial it'll be determined what the president said was perfectly legal. Doesn't matter. That guy defied the president, and that guy will become a member of Congress in a far-left district and a hero to guys like Mark for having stood up to the president, even though the court will say what the president did was perfectly legal. And in the process of that person doing that, none of these Democrats are going to help the person. Let's be real clear here, too, that what these Democrats are really doing is they're targeting the officer corps, not the enlisted. They want the officers to stand up to Donald Trump. They're essentially trying to get a coup out of this. The Democrats have been trying to get their own coup. They think Donald Trump tried to commit a coup on January 6th, and now they want their own coup. They want the military. For years, I mean, we literally have had Democrats. I played audio on this program from MSNBC on how we expect the military to stand up to Donald Trump and how disappointed they are over and over and over again that the military hasn't stood up to Donald Trump. The Democrats have openly called for a coup. And now you got Democrat members of Congress calling for them to defy the president. What do you think was the genesis of this behind the scenes? I think I know what the genesis of this is. I don't think it's the streets of Chicago. I don't think it's the National Guard in Los Angeles or Washington, D.C. I think it's the blowing up of the ships in the Caribbean and the Pacific. I think that's what this is about. Democratic members of Congress on the side of the narco-terrorists. They're on the side of the narco-terrorists. That's what this is about. They're for they, thems, and the narco-terrorists. Donald Trump's for you. And these Democratic members of Congress want the American military to side with the narco-terrorists. And you see what's coming next is this plan to destabilize Venezuela. Because you know what the ultimate target is in destabilizing Venezuela? It's to destabilize Cuba. Venezuela is the last major lifeline for the communist regime in Cuba. Even the Chinese have cut back their aid on Cuba as they try to think about targeting Taiwan. The Russians have cut back their aid because of Ukraine. The Cuban regime is propped up by the Venezuelans. You destabilize the Venezuelan regime, you've destabilized Cuba even further. Who happens to be the Secretary of State? A man named Marco Rubio. Where's Marco Rubio's family from? Refugees from Cuba. The dominoes are falling. Marco Rubio is putting them in place, and he's got buy-in from the president. And these members of Congress, who for 50 years have been proponents of the Chinese communist or the Cuban communist regime, they don't want to see the collapse of the communist regime in North America. You would think they would, because all the Cubans in Florida would go home and that place would shift back to the left. You would think that you would think it would be a good move for the Democrats in Congress to support the collapse of the Castro regime and see a lot of Cuban Americans go back to Cuba and shift Florida back towards the center away from the right. But they're not thinking about it that way. They like having a communist regime 90 miles off the coast of Florida. The Democrats do. Provides them a safe haven. If things go south here, they can go take up communism in Cuba. That's what these people are doing. Y'all, Mark, God bless you. I don't think you're probably a regular listener, because if you had been, you would have heard me questioning some of the intelligence data coming out of the Caribbean. But I actually was not only a lawyer, I was really good at constitutional law. And I can tell you that the Supreme Court has ample and copious precedents that the president of the United States is commander-in-chief and is essentially the dictator when it comes to foreign policy, short of a treaty needing the consent of the Senate. He gets a lot of leeway. So for them to stand up and tell these members of the military to disobey illegal orders, good luck with that. Good luck with it being an illegal order, because at the end of the day, let's be real honest how the way a lot of this stuff works. The winners get to decide if it's legal or illegal. And we're the winners right now. And you guys on the left are really rooting for America to lose. Guys, if you struggle to come up with gifts for family members, I got a suggestion for you, the Cove Pure. I love mine. I wasn't sure I would like it as much as I do, and I really, really, really do. What is a Cove Pure? Well, it's an water filtration system. It's on the countertop. You can get cold water. You can get hot water. It even has a bottle button, so you can get the warm bottle perfect for formula for your baby at night. It's really easy. It's so convenient. I use it all the time in my office. You will love it. It sits on the countertop. It uses reverse osmosis. It gets rid of like pharmaceuticals, fluoride, lead, arsenic. It's the purest water you can get. It tastes fantastic. If you're looking for a great gift for your loved ones or for yourself that they're actually going to use the Cove Pure. I partnered with them. They're giving you a $250 holiday discount with my link, covepure.com/Eric. That's COVEPURE.com/Eric, ERICK. You get $250 off, covepure.com/Eric. The sale is going to end, so take advantage of this $250 holiday discount, covepure.com/Eric. The House of Representatives has just passed a resolution condemning socialism. 96 Democrats opposed the resolution. Tells you everything you need to know. I'm Mike. I want to take your phone call. I'm glad you called. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good, good. All right. I know why you're calling. Have at it.
Yeah. So for the listeners, my name is Mike. I am co-host on the Don't Unfriend Me show, and I also happen to work in the intelligence field with the military. And prior to any action, any kinetic action, anybody who wishes to make the argument for a strike against a boat, a narco-terrorist, whatever the argument is there, they have to run that through a series of lawyers before they get the okay to do it. So the people that are actually, like eyes on a target, and then you've got probably a few people elsewhere who are trying to coordinate for a kinetic attack, all of that gets prior washed through a series of lawyers. So it's not like these people are going to be hung out to dry. God forbid something should go wrong. That's not how it works. The lawyers would either clear it and it would be good to go, and all of a sudden from that point, the soldiers, sailors, airmen, they're not culpable. It would roll back to government lawyers. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, so I'm glad you called in and made that point for the folks in Rio Linda and the guy Mark who called. But also, Now the lawyers say this is good to go. That you can take the shot. What happens when the soldier says, "But no, I believe it's unconstitutional. I refuse to do it."
Right. So at that point, now you've got a situation where somebody isn't performing. They would quietly be fired, and not fired from the military. They would be told that they can't be part of that unit anymore because this is likely going to be like a JSOC kind of operation, something along those lines. Then they would be sent back to their home unit where they can just continue to live out life. I have been in that hotspot actually. And it's a little bit unnerving, but you have to have enough backbone to say, look, the person that you think is here, I am telling you is not, or vice versa, or that, hey, I know where this person is and they are here. I have been that person in that seat. And in either case, lawyers are always over your shoulder.
Lawyers, yep. It's us who ruin everything. Okay, look, I am so glad you called in, and my chuckling is, the way you phrase it, go back and live life. All right, I got to let you go there because we are out of time, and I went over and didn't even get my ad read, but that was so worth taking the call. Thank you so much, Mike, for calling in and clarifying that, because that's the sort of information. I got the smartest listeners out there in America. You guys know everything. Okay. I do have time. All right. I was okay. I got time to do the ad that I need to do. Which one do I need to do? We're having a moment in studio, folks. It's okay. I need to tell you about Swiss America because they've been warning people about the secret war on cash for some time, and they want to give you their report completely for free. The report. So here's what's going on. And, I mentioned this the other day that you see this more and more now where companies don't want you to pay cash. They want you to use card. They want you to use plastic. And the government actually encourages it because if you use plastic, whether it's debit or credit, the government can track your purchases. And they're coming for you that way. It applies to crypto as well. They don't like that you can just get the government to ignore you. So get the Secret War on Cash report free from Swiss America. Let them help you. That saves on your retirement and finances. All you have to do is call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to very briefly here pull back the curtain on my radio program. I have been doing talk radio since 2011. In 2013, Rush Limbaugh had pushed me, had been a friend of mine before I got on radio, pushed me forever. I needed someone on my team who could tell me when I was screwing up. He called him, essentially, I needed a designated a-hole. That is my producer, Charlie, who also screens the phone calls, trained by the illustrious Bo Snerdley himself. I have been doing radio with Charlie since 2013. This is the very first time in my entire career of working with him where he has told me, I know you might want to move on to a new subject, but normally he's like, don't take the callers, move on. This time he's like, don't move on until you take this caller. I don't think I've ever had this happen in my career. And so I am required to take Kelly's phone call, who impressed him so much that Kelly, welcome to the show. Congratulations.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, this is the very first time my call screener has ever told me you have to take this phone call before you move on to anything else. So I'm just doing what I'm told, but you impressed him, and that's hard to do.
Well, lucky me.
All right, so what's going on?
Well, I've got a lot of years of experience under my belt, not just as a lawyer, but I'm practicing military criminal defense lawyer.
Well, yes, I can see why you impressed him.
So the number one thing that we would give as just general advice to any service member saying, gosh, I think there's this unconstitutional order, would first and foremost be you disobey it at your own risk. Because when you're found to have violated a lawful order, you will be held accountable appropriately. And that seems small when you're talking about Article 92 orders, which are, I issued you an order. I verbally, as a commander, told you to do something. But when you have an organized group inciting people to mutiny, if you have people then disobeying the orders on that basis, mutiny is a capital offense. It's a very serious thing to be telling people en masse collectively to do.
Wow. You know, I haven't even thought about that angle, but yeah, I can see it. Yeah. So what is your advice then for, I mean, you see these members of Congress doing this. What's your advice to these soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who are questioning maybe there's something legit there given who these members of Congress are?
Well, luckily the military provides free defense counsel. So they can always call the defense counsel hotlines and ask them, hey, I think this is an unlawful order. And they can have a military lawyer tell them, here's the analysis, here's what we think, and maybe you are or maybe you aren't in your rights doing it. And then they've at least got the cover of saying that they've talked to a lawyer who agreed with them.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, listen, that is very helpful. Thank you very much. I can understand why Charlie told me that I should take your phone call. Thank you for listening as well. I really appreciate it. And I had not even thought about the mutiny angle there. But yeah, you've got, if you have the members of Congress urging people to essentially have mutiny, you got a problem. I'm pulling it up right now. Here is, stop. No, I don't want to give you money website. 10 U.S.C. 894. Any person subject to this chapter who with intent to usurp or override lawful military authority refuses in concert with other persons to obey orders or otherwise do duty or creates any violence or disturbance is guilty of mutiny. A person who is found guilty of attempted mutiny, sedition, or failure to suppress or report a mutiny or sedition shall be punished by death. That is federal law, 10 U.S.C. 894. Any person with intent to usurp or override lawful military authority refuses in concert with any other person, notice not any other member of the military, but with any other person to obey orders or otherwise do his duty or creates any violence or disturbance is guilty of mutiny. Any person who is found guilty of attempted mutiny, mutiny, sedition, or failure to suppress or report a mutiny or sedition shall be punished by death. Well, there you have it. Wow. Yeah, Thank you, Kelly, for that. I would never thought about that one. Yeah, so it's not just, by the way, it's not just guilty of mutiny, but guilty of attempted mutiny is punishable by death. Yeah, this is where and which one of these members of Congress is going to take their place on the gurney? Not a single one of them. Not a single one of them. All right, look, we set a lot on the table. Those of you who are on the phones, be patient with me because I got to bring up this story too. The President of the United States is ordering an expansion of drilling. What did I tell you guys the other day? I said if the president really wants to stimulate the economy, one of the things the president needs to do is expand drilling. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And Bill Weir, the whiny climate activist that CNN for some reason continues to employ, he's really upset about it. And it always makes me happy when Bill Weir is upset about something.
We got a quote from the Attorney General, Rob Bonda. Time and again, President Trump has shown the interest lies with his big oil friends profiting at the expense of our environment and public health. We won't stand for this. We're exploring our legal options. Both Senator Alex Padilla and Representative Jared Hoffman says this plan targets California, the whole West Coast, because they think we will roll over. They are wrong. We're going to fight this with everything we have. And of course, environmental groups launching their legal pushback as well. This draft plan is an oil spill nightmare. As campaign director Joseph Gordon of the Oceans nonprofit, the last thing America needs now is a massive expansion of offshore drilling that could shut down our shores with catastrophic oil spills. But just for perspective, there is less than 20 offshore rigs working in the U.S. right now. 2 years ago, there was 750 onshore oil wells working. Now there's less than 550. So the market for this is they're screaming with demand. Oil is near $60 a barrel. These are hugely expensive things. It will take years and much resistance between now and then. But right now, what you're seeing is the latest example of that Project 2025 playbook, which is go maximum against all environmental concern.
I love that. We got to blame 2025. Bill Weir is such a progressive hack, and yet CNN treats him as some sort of objective journalist. He's not. He's a climate activist. And, he's right that the number of offshore oil wells in this country has declined, but in large part it's because the Biden administration made it deeply, deeply expensive and burdensome to get permissions to do new wells out there. If Trump expedites the process, we could have more. And that would be a good thing. Put more out there, lower prices even further, engage even further. It's great to have a barrel of oil at $60. It had been at $80 to $100 when Joe Biden was president. We could bring it down even further. This is good progress. And interestingly enough, Matthew Walecki is an earth science professor, and he points out that the fossil fuel share of world energy from 2000 to 2004 hovers above 80%. It was at 85%. It's at 83% now. He notes that 25 years after promising a fossil fuel-free world, we're at a rounding error now. In 2000, these are the actual numbers. In 2000, fossil fuels powered 88% of global energy. Today, it's 86%. That's after trillions in subsidies, millions in turbines and panels, and 2 decades of last chance climate summits. The Energy Institute's brand new statistical review is a wrecking ball for the narrative. Record energy demand, record fossil fuel use, record emissions, and renewables still stuck at 6% of primary energy. It's not a political opinion. It's the Global Energy Scoreboard, and it shows the transition isn't replacing fossil fuels. It's adding on top of them with demand explodes while demand explodes in Asia. If you want to understand why net zero is delusional, why grids get shakier, why bills keep rising, and why China is laughing while burning coal and exporting your subsidized green tech, this is the data walkthrough you've been waiting for, and he's got the data. Fossil fuel powers 86% of the world. Coal, oil, natural gas dominate. Wind and solar is minor. And the world needs more and more power because of data centers. And the data centers run 24/7. The data centers don't care if the sun has set or the wind has stopped blowing. They want power. And they're going to get that power. That power is going to come every which way. And if it is coal and natural gas and oil, that's what it's going to be. And around the world, oil is still one of the more popular energy sources. And most of our cars continue to be fossil fuel driven. And yet they insist on the left that this has to change. It's not even changing. You know, down in Brazil, they built that road through the jungle to build the COP 26 or whatever, 25 summit. The UN summit is down in Brazil. They bulldozed the jungle to build the building in the jungle to have it. It caught on fire yesterday. And they drove the people to the summit in fossil fuel vehicles. And they flew to Brazil in fossil fuel powered airplanes. They want you to give it up. They don't want to give it up. The world is not giving up fossil fuels. The president is right. We need new platforms in the Pacific and the Atlantic. And frankly, those of you down in Florida, we need them there too. And I got to tell you, as someone who's from Louisiana, as someone who grew up in Dubai 2 blocks from the beach, the idea of these massive oil spills is nonsense. Can they happen? Yes. Do they happen? Very rarely. Very rarely. Go down to Grand Isle, Louisiana, walk the beach, you're not going to see an oil slick. Go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, you're not going to see an oil slick, and they have lesser environmental standards than we have. Go down to Mississippi, go down to Pascagoula, go down to Biloxi, get on the beach, you're not going to see an oil slick on the beach. It's hysteria, fear-driven hysteria by the left that this is going to happen to California, to Florida, to the Carolinas. It's not. And we need the oil. The oil is there. We need it. We should go get it. It should not be taken off because you want your pristine beach. Because many times those oil platforms are over the horizon anyway. You might see the flare on the horizon. It's nonsensical for you to want to leave that oil there and not get it. I don't care about your pretty, pristine view. I grew up, my dad was in the oil industry. I lived in Dubai. We would go to the beach. You'd look out onto the horizon. You wouldn't even see the oil platforms. They're over the horizon. We got this fear-mongering by the left about oil slicks. Go to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. There aren't oil slicks on the beach. It's fear-mongering by environmentalists who also want you to know that we have less than 10 years to save the planet or we're all going to die, which is nonsense. They've been saying that since the 90s. It's just nonsense. And yet they just keep wanting to scare us. Stop being scared and drill the oil. It's nice that Drill Baby Drill is back. It's nice that the president has insisted we start drilling again. I want to drill again. I want big platforms in the Gulf of Mexico, the Pacific, and the Atlantic, sucking up all the oil for us to lower our prices and to export to the world to become America, Saudi Arabia without, like, Islam. Just the United States producing energy for ourselves and for our friends. And also, it would economically hurt the Russians if we drilled out more oil ourselves. It would be good for everybody. Hello there. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. Michael has been waiting a very long time, and I want to take his phone call. Michael, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Thanks for being patient. What's going on?
I just had 2 quick questions. Last Sunday on 60 Minutes, there was an episode where they said Trump's pardon of crypto billionaire of Binance. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it, about the president's pardon. And the second question,
go ahead,
on the issue of what the Democrat senators said Congress about the orders. What does the UCMJ specifically say? Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Uniform Code of Military Justice, and that is codified here under federal law, is that if you engage in mutiny, it's the death penalty for you, or if you engage in an attempted mutiny. And mutiny is defined as an intent to override lawful military authority or refuse with others to obey lawful orders. And as both of the lawyers involved in the military have said, if the chain of legal command tells you that the order you've been given is legal and you decide you don't think it is, well, that's mutiny. And if you've got members of Congress telling you to do this and you cite those members of Congress as your reason why, well, it is in concert with any other person you've decided not to do that. That's mutiny. You'll get the death penalty. Now, to the 60 Minutes thing, I got to tell you, I got a real problem with the president pardoning this guy. It's Changpeng Zhao, who is actually helping the president's family. And interestingly enough, when he was asked about the pardon of the guy, the president said, I don't even know who you're talking about. The host of 60 Minutes, Norah O'Donnell, asked Trump why he pardoned Zhao, even though government prosecutor says he caused significant harm to U.S. national security. Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is, the president said. He said he didn't recall meeting Zhao, had no idea who he was, only that he had been told the businessman was a victim of a witch hunt. That's not true. That's not actually true at all. It was prosecuted by the Biden administration, but it wasn't a corrupt case. It was the guy actually not a good dude. He pled guilty. He pled guilty to enabling money laundering. He served 4 months in prison. He stepped down as the chief executive of Binance. He didn't fight it in court. He took the plea deal to plead guilty. He could have fought it because he could afford the lawyers. He had lots of money to afford the lawyers, and instead he took the plea deal, pled guilty to enabling money laundering, and then Donald Trump pardons him and says, I don't even know who the guy is. I just heard that he was overly zealously prosecuted. No, he deserved to be prosecuted. And if you're upset with Joe Biden and the auto pin and the pardons, you should be concerned at least that this president is now on record admitting he pardoned someone he didn't know anything about. It was not a good look for the president of the United States to do this. It just wasn't. Now, when we come back, I got to shift gears because there's a story percolating that has kind of blown my mind. By the way, so my son has a teacher who English is not her first language. And when she tells the kids that something is going to blow their mind, she says it's going to blow your brains out. Among other things that I will not mention on this radio program. This is going to blow your brain, or it's going to blow your mind, that it is now right coded to want safe streets in your neighborhood. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back. But first, let me tell you about Vision Computers. It's holiday season. If you got a kid that wants a gaming PC, Vision Computers can build it for you. I know because they built my son a great gaming PC, and he loves it. And the GPU is incredible. No game has been slow on his computer. He loves it. It's given him a competitive advantage against some of his other friends too. And he's got that special number he can call if there's ever a problem. And in 15 seconds or less, he gets the answer to what's going on. Vision takes care of him, and it comes with the computer. If you want the standalone care from Vision, well, you can get that too. $199 a year per computer. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. Nationwide, they help people. They help companies with managed IT. They help families. 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You might be able to save some money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Take care of Christmas with Vision Computers.